Unit 6, Similar Triangles, Day 1. What is a ratio? What do you think a ratio is? Well, a ratio is a comparison of two or more quantities. There are ways we can represent a ratio. We can do it as division, A over B. We can write it A to B using the words, or A colon B. What you must remember, though, is that ratios must be simplified. So we're going to do some ratios. We're given some information about a music store, and we're going to find the ratios first of trumpets to violins. So there's 40 trumpets and 24 violins. Remember, ratios must be simplified, so let's go ahead and simplify this. So that simplifies to 5 over 3. Final answer, trumpets to violins, 5 to 3 ratio. Push pause and you write in 2, 3, and 4, and then let's compare answers. Flutes to clarinets, 17 to 13 after being reduced. Trombones to trumpets, 16 over 40, which reduces to 2 to 5. Violins to total amount of instruments, 24 over 170, which reduces to 12 over 85. So what is an extended ratio? It is a comparison of 3 or more quantities. So when we write our ratios, it's going to be A to B to C. We're going to do some practice problems from the booklet from pages 1 and 2. We will do numbers 5, 7, and 9 together. So as we carefully read through the problem, it says the ratio of two complementary angles is 3 to 7. So let's translate what we know. We know complementary, and complementary means 90, so something is going to be 90. We know the ratio of two angles, so we're going to have something plus something. We know the ratio of the two is going to be something 3 and something 7. And because we don't know what that something is, we're going to call them x. So here we go. We have an equation. 3x plus 7x equals 90. We solve for x and we get x is equal to 9. We always have to go back and read the question, and it says find the measures of both angles, so we're not done. We're going to go ahead and we're going to plug in 9 for x, and so 9 times 3 is 27. So one of our angles is 27. When we plug in 9 for x, 7 times 9 is 63. So the angles are 27 degrees and 63 degrees. Let's read through the question carefully. The ratio of the measures of angles in a triangle is 4 to 7 to 9. This is one of those extended ratios, but we need to find the measures of all the angles. So let's talk about what we know. We know that all the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. We know that it's 3 angles in a triangle, so we're going to have something plus something plus something. We know the ratio is going to be 4, 7, and 9. And so what we need now is our variables, 4x, 7x, 9x. Let's go ahead and solve. So when we solve, we get x is equal to 9. We always go back and make sure we read the question, find the measures of the angles, because we want to know what they want us to do. They want the measures of the angles, and so the angles are 9 times 4, 36 degrees, 7 times 9, 63 degrees, and 9 times 9, 81 degrees. So these are the measures of the angles. Reading the question carefully, the ratio of the measures of the sides of a triangle is 2 to 8 to 9. If the perimeter of the triangle is 76 inches, find the length of each side. So what is it that we know? We know we're not dealing with angles, so we shouldn't even write 180. But we do know we're dealing with the sides of a triangle, and there are 3 sides. So we have 3 sides, so we have something plus something plus something, and it all adds up to 76. Well, we know the ratio is 2 to 8 to 9. So we got to put our variables in because we don't know exactly which what is x and how much is each side. So we get ready to solve. We get x is equal to 4. We go back and read the question. It says find the length of each side. So we have to go back and we have to plug this in. So one side is 2 times 4. So one side is 8 inches. The next side is 8 times 4, which is 32 inches. And the last side is 9 times 4, which is 36 inches. And it adds up to 76 inches. Next, we're going to talk about what is a proportion. Well, a proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. So a proportion can be written as A over B is equal to C over D. When we use the cross product property, a lot of you say cross multiply, we will multiply A times D and B times C. So that's what we're going to be doing with our proportions. We're going to practice from page 2. We're going to do problems 11, 13, and 15 together. Here's number 11. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and cross multiply, cross product. So 7 times 4 is 28. And 2 times x is 2x. So when we solve this, we divide by 2 and we find out that x is equal to 14. And that's how we solve for x. Number 13, we have a proportion, a fraction equal to another fraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply. 6 times 13 gives us 78. But wait a minute, when we cross multiply over here, we have one number by itself, which is 19. We always write that first. And we're multiplying it by a binomial, which is x minus 1. Voila, look at that. We got the distributive property. So let's go ahead and solve this and find out what x is. Solve for x, and we get a decimal. X is equal to 5.1. Unless we specify, let's go ahead and round to the nearest tenth each time. Number 15, we have a proportion. We're going to cross multiply. We're going to multiply 20 times the expression 2x minus 9. And we're going to multiply 10 times 9, which is 90. Let's go ahead and solve and find out what x is. So here we have x is equal to 6.75. But if we round to the nearest tenth, I'd definitely take x is equal to 6.8. So let's talk quickly about important things to remember. If you have a ratio, don't forget to simplify. Read the problems carefully so that you'll know what you need to answer. If they ask you for an angle, you need to find the angle. If they ask you for the largest side, you need to find the largest side. But you're only going to know that if you read the problem carefully. When you have a proportion and you have one term that you have to multiply by 2 terms, make sure you distribute to both terms when solving a proportion. That concludes our Unit 6, Day 1 lesson. At this time, you're ready to complete the problems on page 1 and 2.